Hello and welcome back to Weston the Historian. Or Weston the Historian, sorry. Today I will be covering America's first Vice President and second President, John Adams. John Adams was born in Braintree, now called Quincy, Massachusetts, on October 30th, 1735. He was the oldest out of John and Susanna Boylston, I believe, Adams' three sons. He was a great student, graduating from Harvard in 1755 and going on to become a teacher for several years. During that time, he also studied law with an attorney before becoming an attorney himself, becoming one of the most important in Boston. In 1764, he married Abigail Smith, who he had 6 children with, one of them, John Quincy Adams, going on to become the 6th President of the United States. Surviving letters show that Abigail Smith was quite intellectual and influenced her husband quite a bit. Throughout the 1760s, John Adams began to question Britain's authority over the colonies, viewing the rising taxes as a tool of oppression. He criticized the Stamp Act of 1765 and the Townshend Act, Townshend Act. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Is 1767. Despite this, Adams represented the British soldiers accused of murder at the Boston Massacre, wanting them to receive a fair trial. In 1774, Adams attended the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia as a Massachusetts delegate. In 1775, at the Second Continental Congress, Adams nominated George Washington to serve as commander of the colonial forces in the American Revolution, which had just begun. He later nominated Thomas Jefferson to draft the Declaration of Independence, which John Adams signed. In 1778, John Adams was sent to Paris, France, to ally with the French monarchy. And later, he returned to America and worked as a principal framer of the Massachusetts Constitution. By late 1780, he came to Europe once again. In 1783, alongside John Jay and Benjamin Franklin, negotiated the Treaty of Paris, officially ending hostilities between America and Britain. Adams remained in Europe after the war and served as the United States' first ambassador to Britain from 1785 to 1788. Once he returned to America, he participated in the Constitutional Convention that nominated George Washington for the first U.S. president. Adams lobbied to become the first vice president and won. Back then, the vice president's role was almost purely ceremonial, and John Adams hated this, referring to his position as the most insignificant office that has ever entered human thought. When Washington retired in 1796, Adams ran for president and won against Thomas Jefferson. John Adams took office in March of 1797. Britain and France were at war, affecting American trade. Although Washington had maintained a position of neutrality during this time, tensions rose during Adams' presidency. He sent a delegation to France to negotiate a treaty, but the French refused to meet with the delegates, and the French foreign minister demanded a huge bribe. Adams refused, leading to the XYZ affair, which boosted Adams' popularity. An undeclared naval war between America and France began in 1798 and lasted until 1800 when a peace treaty was signed. Adams' popularity went down after he signed the Alien and Sedition Acts. These acts gave the U.S. government the ability to deport foreigners and arrest those who strongly disagreed with the government. Jefferson and Democratic Republicans despised these laws, believing them to be unconstitutional. Many Americans, remembering the oppression they faced under the British, believed the U.S. government would resort to the same tactics. Because of this, Adams lost the 1800 election. After his presidency, John Adams lived a long yet productive retirement. He and his wife lived the rest of their lives in Quincy, Massachusetts, and John Adams spent the rest of his life writing columns, books, and letters. In 1812, he started exchanging letters to his former rival, Thomas Jefferson, both exchanging letters to each other for the rest of their lives. John Adams' wife died in 1818, but he lived to see his son, John Quincy Adams, become the 6th president in 1824. On July 4th, 1826, John Adams died. His last words were, "Thomas Jefferson still lives," unaware that Jefferson had actually passed away that very same morning. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like the video. Thank you and goodbye.